Episode 11, guys. How does it feel?
We've made it so far. Can't believe this.
It has been a month and a half, or 2 months, 2.5 months now since starting this thing. It's crazy. Yeah.
Let's get an icebreaker going.
Okay. What's the most embarrassing fashion trend you have ever adopted?
Oh, my goodness.
Most embarrassing fashion trends.
There's several. Z Cavaricci's back in the day.
I couldn't afford them, so I couldn't go that route.
I only could afford one pair. But when I was in junior high, all the kids. Well, let me go back. I was a fashion follower, but my parents were not financially equipped,
Dude, the same
to fulfill my fashion dreams. So I remember in 5th grade, jelly bracelets were all the rage, and as many as you could have.
Okay, yeah.
And all different colors. And so people had their arms full of jelly bracelets. And the more you had, it was like the more you had, the wealthier and like more prestigious it was.
Interesting.
It was really weird. But it was only for like a month, right? And so over the summer, we go to a Mexican flea market in Mexico, and my mother finds the jelly bracelets, and she's like, "Oh, Lee, look!" And they were super cheap because we're at a Mexican flea market, and so it's like awesome. And so she grabs, hundreds of jelly bracelets. I have jelly bracelets coming out the wazoo, every color. It's amazing. The next fall, go to school. Got my jelly bracelets on my arm. I've got like a nice big swath of jelly bracelets, all the different colors, the whole rainbow of colors. And I am so proud walking in. And kids are like, "Why are you wearing those? Nobody wears those anymore. Those aren't cool anymore."
Oh,
and I was like,
changed.
yeah. So jelly bracelets. There you go.
Slap bracelets were next.
Oh, yeah.
Golly, jelly bracelets.
Jelly bracelets. Yeah, I remember
Old
that.
school.
All right. Actually, no.
You want me to go?
You?
Okay, fine.
You said you had a similar.
Are you talking about your shirt?
I grew up very similar. I really loved certain fashions, but I could never do them because my parents just didn't buy me whatever clothes I wanted. I kind of just got what I got. But honestly, my style has pretty much remained the same. I've been a t-shirt guy, graphic tee, jeans.
Right.
My jeans were usually straight, slim, or skinny. Like I still, to this day, those. Shoes have always been like a slip-on Van, Converse, something like that. I didn't do a lot of sneakers. So I'm still the same way today. If anything, I've just appreciate shoes more. So I do more like, Nikes and Jordans and stuff. I love those. But the one thing I could think of, it was not embarrassing to me. I chose to do it. I loved it. I still stand by it. But everybody told me how silly it was. But I didn't do frosted tips, but I did the dual color where I had like a darker brown hair, but then they would pull the pieces of your hair out all the way, and then some of them were blonde, right?
Yep.
So I had the dual tone, and then I had a faux hawk with that.
Okay.
So
Nice.
all my punk rock friends were like, "Dude, that's awesome. I love it. I wish I could do that with my hair."
Yeah.
Everyone else was just like, "Backstreet Boys?
Yeah,
Like, really,
yeah.
dude?" Like,
Nice.
and I was like, "No, I love it. I'm still cool with it. It's in my prom photos and everything. Like, I
Nice.
love it.
Yeah.
My wife makes fun of me."
I totally feel like you're calling me out though, because I have the two-tone right now, but it wasn't by my choice.
That's
right.
true,
I was
yeah.
gonna say, there's a reason
sometime
for
I'll
that.
have to tell that story. But
not
yeah,
today.
not today.
Holy
Not today.
hanging. Oh,
I have to say, I do love the hat. Speaking of fashion.
yeah,
The
I do
Atari
hats
hat.
all the
Atari
time.
hat.
Throwback.
That's awesome.
Throwback.
That's a nice hat right there.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I got it for $2 at the Hobby Lobby, my friends.
That is the place.
Whoa.
They are on clearance right
I don't
now.
wear hats, but I might wear that.
I got
hat.
one more.
They got another one.
All right.
Yeah. What you got?
fads that I'm embarrassed.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's
Fashion,
the most embarrassing fad that you adopted?
Could it be the hat you're wearing now?
Hey man, I wear this hat whenever I'm having a moment of I wonder. I'm trying to remember what it was like to have hair.
Yeah.
It doesn't do anything for me. It just because I don't remember.
Can you do me a favor and just say, hey, we're going to Flavor Town?
Yes, we're going to Flavor Town.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
That's great.
Oh wow. Okay.
See, I was, I guess.
Yeah, it killed it for him. He can't even.
I'm sorry.
This
even
was the
move
worst
on.
fad he's ever been in. The Guy Fieri
This one.
hat.
This one, yeah, I successfully, this one.
Successfully.
Yeah. I was always anti. So it was like what everybody else was doing, I didn't want to have anything to do with. So I was always late to the game. So if there was something that everybody was doing, if I appreciated it later on, like I would adopt it as my own. I'm like, I like this. This is comfortable. And everybody else had moved on, so I don't have to worry about being one of the I guess like sheeple. You know, I wonder if that was birthed out of like a similar situation that I've heard so far is we didn't have a whole lot. So if I had to get a job if I really wanted stuff and when I did get a job, I spent it all on comic books. Anyways,
there you go.
And food. Speaking of food, we'll get to that in a minute. So the only thing I could remember was, I tight rolled my pants like everybody else. And I can still remember the first day in high school when someone wasn't tight rolling their pants. And I just looked at him and said, "What are you doing?" And like, it literally came out of my mouth. I'm like, what are you doing? And he's like, "What do you mean?" I said, "How come you didn't tight roll your pants?" He goes, "Because I didn't want to."
Yeah.
And I didn't know what to do with somebody who was like breaking trend.
Wow.
Like
Call the fashion police.
Didn't care.
Yeah.
Like they were just going to be their own person.
Yeah.
I was terrified and respected it all at the same time. So that's the only thing I can think of.
Yeah, tight roll. Okay. For me, it was Jinkos.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So, I was I went through that like grunge skater phase kind of thing, right? I remember having like the big beaded silver necklaces and the chain, that went down and was supposed to connect to a wallet, but it really didn't.
Yeah.
That whole thing. I remember having pants so big that I bought a PlayStation 2, and which is a big
it was
thing,
huge.
right?
Yeah.
The box fit in my back pocket.
Stop.
You could not tell that I had a PlayStation 2
What?
box in my pants as
That's
I
crazy.
walked out. So.
That's the weirdest phrase I've heard all day. You could not tell I had a PlayStation 2 box in my pants.
I know.
Dang.
Yeah. So big Jinkos.
Yeah.
And the thing with Jinkos is because they drag, the bottom half would all like get worn away.
Worn
So you
away,
had that-
and wet. Wet
and
when
wet.
you're walking
yeah,
out.
and then
splashing up.
So that was probably the most embarrassing fashion trend.
Yeah.
So it was like bell bottoms, but not kind of.
Yeah.
Anyway, welcome to the podcast.
Yeah.
Oh man. So today, food.
Oh my goodness. Yes.
Food. It gives us sustenance. It does. It does. It brings people and cultures together. It's a way to relax, and a way to stress.
That's true.
It is a form of art and a form of medicine. From sitting around the dinner table to picnics in the park, food has literally shaped us.
Nice.
Preach.
Yep.
So today we take a bite out of it. Take a bite out of food.
Nice.
And we have a guest host today, Guy Fieri. Here.
Yeah, I got here. For those of you
For
listening
food.
to the podcast, Eric, who, as you've heard many times, is bald, is sporting
So bald.
what we call the Guy Fieri hat, where it's a hat with hair on top.
I'm
It's
actually a
amazing.
little jealous. It looks really good.
Oh, thank you.
Great looking hat.
Appreciate you.
But what an appropriate hat for an
It's
episode all about food.
About food.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm trying to
We
get
call
I'm trying to
upon
get
Guy Fieri's knowledge and power and wisdom
right.
for this episode.
All right, let's start with an easy one. What's your favorite food? What's your least favorite food? We know this guy's, but
Yes.
we'll let him answer.
We heard about yours too. Like a few.
Oh, yeah.
Asparagus is coming back, baby. No,
That's true.
That's
true.
I actually won't be I'll give something different just so I'm different. But I know
Cool.
you have a pure hatred for yours.
Oh yes.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah,
Meatloaf,
absolutely,
dude.
Yeah, I hate meatloaf with
Hate it.
with a passion. I'll go in reverse order. Like I hate meatloaf. I passionately hate meatloaf, and I'll say, like I said in the podcast where we talked about things that we hate, passionately dislike. I hate meatloaf, and I don't care if yours is amazing.
He's gonna hate it.
It's right. Anytime someone says every time I say I hate meatloaf, someone says we haven't tried mine or my grandma's, or you heard me say it before, or maybe you didn't. This is and you're new to this. Like I don't care who makes it. I'm not having yours.
Yeah.
I hate it.
There are three
It's a lie.
things.
Meatloaf is a
me.
lie.
Three things for me that I think I genuinely dislike for food. One is Brussels sprouts. I'm just one of those people that it's just not good to me. I can't stand it. I got close one time because somebody put a massive amount of brown sugar and butter and then charred the heck out of them.
Yeah.
I was almost there. But then when you got
eat it.
past the flavor, it was still Brussels sprouts.
Yeah.
Little baby cabbages.
And then I don't like what's that? Wasabi. Can't stand it. Is the worst. I don't want it on my sushi. None of that. Get it away. Like I can't stand the way it tastes. And then sauerkraut. I don't know why. I wish I liked it, but I don't. But to parallel that, I love sushi. I really do. Like it's one of my all-time favorite foods in the entire world. Super refreshing.
Do you do raw fish or cooked?
Both.
Okay.
It doesn't matter to me. Sashimi, all of that. I'll do either one. And now it does. It will depend on the place. I think everybody knows there are some places you don't eat raw fish at.
Like all of them.
I agree with that.
Don't get gas station sushi.
Yeah, don't do that.
Gas station sushi.
But there are some. Like I'll call out one that was one of my favorites in Houston. There's a place called Miyako's. It's a really good, high quality sushi restaurant. At least the last time I was there, it was. And so that place I'd highly recommend. They take very good care of the fish they get. It's fresh every day, super high quality, but you pay high quality price.
Yeah.
So it's very expensive. But yeah, that's probably one of my favorite foods. I know I've mentioned sandwiches before, but I won't go into that part. But yeah, sushi is probably one of my all time favorite foods of all time.
You gave us what you hate, but what do you like? What's your favorite?
If I had to go favorite, I would have to say steak. I love a good steak, man.
Okay, what kind of steak you going?
Medium rare. I have to go
Sirloin or
well. The best steak that I've ever had in my entire existence happened at a Benihana's. I only went there because we were celebrating someone's birthday, so I didn't pay for it, so that worked out. It was probably the reason why it tasted even better. But I had a filet mignon, and man, it was 8 ounces.
That's
and
a big filet.
It literally the best steak. It's the first time I've ever had a meal that when the last bite was gone, I was sad that the meal was over with. I didn't know what to do with the emotion at the time. I'm like, I'm literally sad that this is over. And I'd already given away half of it because I took a bite and I was so ecstatic about how someone was like, what is it? And I was like, this is amazing. Try a bite. And they were like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And then someone else down the road, what is it? And I was like, it's steak. It's my steak. Here, try this. I was like, this is amazing. And then the third person now was like, what? I said, nothing.
It's Brussels sprouts.
I'm done. I'm done.
I finished that.
It's my food.
Amazing.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
Yeah, steak is awesome.
Steak is awesome. That's what this needs to be called.
Yes.
Okay, so I'll start with least favorite. And again, I won't give asparagus because I already hate
you just did. Okay, go ahead.
No, my least favorite food is probably kale. There's no reason for kale.
No.
Kale, no.
Kale, no. It's one of those foods that fight you back. Like it just makes me itchy, and
I agree with
like
that.
it's just there's no reason for it. Like
So asparagus makes you itchy, and kale makes you.
My wife likes to bake kale.
yeah,
and eat it.
I just can't. People are like, yeah, make it into chips and it's really good. I'm like, no, you just intensify the horrible.
Yes,
like,
I agree.
Yeah.
So I stay away from kale is probably my least favorite food. My favorite food, man, I'm with you. Steak.
Oh yeah,
Just a good steak.
Testify.
I like a ribeye because I like that fatty marble.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
yes.
that's my top steak that I've ever had was at a Fogo de Chao.
Oh, okay.
It was a salt. So it comes out on a big salt plate platter thing, and it was Wagyu beef. I swear it was like a $200 steak. Like it was a once in a lifetime thing that my wife and I went and did, and we're like, you know what, just get it. Like we're just gonna go for it. Like it just it was like butter. It was like meat flavored butter.
Yeah,
like it was amazing.
That's beautiful.
Yeah,
that's beautiful metaphor.
So that'd be my favorite food right there, a steak.
I just want to comment on that for a second because I think a lot of us like steak, but you said something. If you can do this, now that we're talking about food, this is really important. If there is a once in a lifetime opportunity that's in your mind, you're like, I wish I could do this, or I would always love to do that. In some way, shape, or form, make it happen.
Yeah.
Because truly, it's an amazing experience.
Yes.
I've done that where you just kind of put some other cares aside and you're saying, you know what, I'm going to save up and we're going to do this once in a lifetime thing, and you will remember it forever. You won't regret it. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Hey, if you've ever had a moment like that where you had a once in a lifetime a moment with food, tell us all about it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Definitely.
That'd be awesome.
Put it in the comment section.
For sure.
Lee.
Oh man.
Tell us what you hate. Tell us what you love.
I hate sushi. So true. So true. I could not.
Let me guess. You love your favorite steak.
No, it's barbecue, which is related.
Yeah,
A derivative.
Yeah. You give me some slow cooked brisket or beef, and
you're a Texas boy.
Or jalapeno sausage or chicken or turkey. I mean, all of it.
Is anybody else's mouth watering right now?
Yes, good stuff. Yeah. And unfortunately, it's something I don't get enough of. My wife's always like, and I'm like, she's like, okay, it's your birthday.
It's like, this is a special occasion.
It's the whole argument that happens with nonverbal.
Yeah.
Just a lot of.
Oddly enough,
Yeah.
the best ribs that I've ever had were at boot camp.
Weird.
What? Weird. Like every rib I've ever had after that has been judged off that rib, and they've never come close. And I don't know if it's because I was so hungry and just so deprived.
Were they beef ribs or pork ribs?
They were pork ribs. They were pork ribs.
Yeah.
And everything has always been judged off of that rib.
Yeah.
Like even the barbecue I have here is great. But then I'm like, it's just not quite that rib.
It makes me think all the recruits are going to use this podcast and what you just said to be like, yeah, come join us for the recruit.
Yeah, it's like,
you got the best ribs.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything else was terrible, but the ribs.
Gotcha. It's interesting. I kind of have to say cuisine of a certain country.
Sure.
Which I don't know, maybe people say is prejudiced or whatever, but
This is going for your least?
Yeah. And so Japanese cuisine. No, I don't like it.
Yeah.
Don't give it to me. Vietnamese, Korean, get out of my face with all that.
Wow.
Chinese, love it. Love it. Yeah.
Because there are.
I know.
Yeah,
I know.
there's similarities.
Like hibachi. I can do hibachi, but people are like, no, you gotta try this, eel sushi. And it's like, no, I don't. And
no, you don't.
Shut up.
You don't have to try that because nobody's eating eel sushi.
It's so nasty. But something like that, and like, oh, it's starfish, and I'm like, why would anybody eat starfish?
I'm
That's
starting
so
to see
weird.
why he doesn't like Asian food. He's just named things that I would never eat myself.
They're crazy.
These are foods that I ate out of
Just orange
desperation.
chicken, man.
But I think about I have to
So American.
I know.
I love chicken. I'm such a just red, white, blue American in that regard.
Yeah.
Hey, you want some chicken? Sure, I'll love chicken.
I'll
Love me
take
some
it
chicken.
any way you give it to me.
Yep. Fried. We're not going to go into that whole
That's
thing.
so great.
But like I start thinking of restaurants that I like because of the food that I like, and say like Killen's.
Yeah, everybody knows Killen's.
I mean,
yeah,
Killen's
Good
barbecue, Killen's steakhouse,
Yeah.
Killen's burgers. I mean, Killen's, they know what they're doing when it comes to the meat. And then, man, I love Grazia in Pearland. The Grazia in Pearland, like that is some amazing Italian food. I have not tried the one here yet.
That's the only one I've ever experienced is here.
It was good.
Me and Jason went on a
Yeah, we had a little man
Yeah,
date.
a little-
we went on a
man
man
date.
date for
We
lunch.
didn't realize it was so
Fancy.
fancy
Yeah,
when we walked
yeah.
in, so it was a little awkward. But
The one in Pearland, it's amazing.
I've eaten it
It's
both.
really good.
They're both really
Try
good.
Yeah. I was happy with it. Most people that have eaten it here recently told me they're like, well, it was all right, but it's really expensive.
well, yeah.
Yeah.
So I was just
Italian
like,
food. I mean,
yeah,
tends to be.
it's kind of geared towards the date night spot, right?
Okay,
Yeah.
So here's the thing with food. Most people, when they're talking about food and it's something they really enjoy, it's because there's an experience with it, right? Like,
Sure.
you talk about having that steak at
Yes.
Benihana's, right?
Yeah.
So what is the craziest food experience that you've had out there?
Yeah.
I can start us off.
Yeah,
Please
Go
do,
ahead.
because you're going to have the craziest out of all of us, no doubt.
Probably.
I've got quite a few because I've traveled abroad and I think I ate dog on one trip, but I won't share that story.
I'm interested.
This is a story of how I came up with the food combination that to this day I still
Yes.
eat occasionally.
I know where this is going.
But it destroys your stomach. So one day I walk into a Walmart, Wally World, and there's the bakery section, and they have their little deli, and they had at the time, well, they used to have fried burritos.
Yep.
So it
Yes.
was fried
Good
bean
stuff right
and
there.
beef burrito. Love them. And anyway, I go in and they no longer make them. They have switched to the chimichanga, right? So they have chimichangas. They don't do the fried burritos.
What's in a
just the
chimichanga?
So it's like a shredded meat. I don't know. It's a lot of the same seasoning, but it's just not the same.
There's no beans.
No, there was no beans.
It's just meat.
It was meat and with the sauce.
And
Yeah. And it was fried. So it looked the same, but it wasn't the same. And I was like, okay, well, I'll take a chimichanga. I'm already here. Like, this is going to be my lunch. And then I see that they have the corn dogs out.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, you know what? I'll take a corn dog too. So I'm going to have a chimichanga and a corn dog. And the woman's like, okay. So she starts to bag it. And then she was like, do you want me to put it in the same bag or do you just separate bags? I'm like, that's fine. Just throw it in the same bag.
Yep.
Not a problem.
She knew.
So she drops it in. She closes it up. I'm walking. I go pay. I put it in the car. I drive all the way to work. I get to work. I open the bag, and some miracle, the corn dog has worked its way into the chimichanga.
What?
Yep.
So the chimichanga is now wrapped around the corn dog.
What?
Mm-hmm.
And so at this point, I now have a chimichurn dog.
A chimichurn dog.
And I was like, why not?
Why?
So I ate it.
Why?
Yeah.
Delicious, amazing flavors.
Yep.
Wow.
Until about an hour later. When the chimichurn dog starts fighting back.
No.
And it fought back all day. So about every 6 months, I would go back to that Walmart.
Of the chimichurn dog.
And I don't know if it was amnesia, but I would be like, you know what sounds good? Chimichurn dog. And every time it would fight back. So I'm due.
He started going on Saturdays.
Yeah, I'm due for a chimichurn dog.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
So there's my crazy.
This is colon
that was
cleanse.
the-
Goodness gracious.
That was the creation of the chimichurn dog. Yeah.
Anybody can top that? Any takers?
not even close.
Oh,
man.
man.
I definitely have some food experiences, but mine are so lackluster compared to that.
Yeah.
I have to share two, and they'll be quick.
Okay.
My first story is going to be about a steak. You guys talked about steak being your favorite.
Was it a mistake?
No, no, these are positive. These are good ones. These are good experiences.
Can't take this guy anywhere.
So, me and my wife, since we've been married, we have been going on a Valentine's date to Perry's Steakhouse.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
Since we've been married, and we love it. And I remember I've never been to like a quality steakhouse before. It's always been some backwoods kind of steakhouse, which they're good, but
not
there's a difference between just a good old steak and then a steak that's prepared on a level of 5-star, chefs. And so I remember going to Perry's. We always used our tax return money to pay for it because it's like we didn't expect to have this anyway. So if we have some extra, we'll use it.
There you go.
So it's a pretty expensive meal, no matter how you put it. So like you, I order the Perry's filet mignon wrapped in applewood smoked bacon and topped with lobster. It is the greatest steak I've ever had in my life.
Wow.
It was phenomenal. Every time we go back, I try to order the same thing. Every once in a while, I'll get something different because they have specials on filet mignon, but it's phenomenal steak. I love it. Second thing, so that was experience with steak and also anniversary and
Lobster.
Valentine's and all that stuff. So then on top of that, we had the privilege of being gifted tickets to the Diamond Club for the Astros at Minute Maid Park.
Okay.
Diamond Club, for those of you who don't know, it's kind of like the secret club of the park. You can only get in if you park in a valet parking in the stadium, and then you go through a secret elevator entrance down underneath the park, and there's like a secret room for all the elites and like George Bush and all them go there. And so then you go up another path that leads up to these seats right behind home plate, and they're all fancy and cushiony and stuff. And so we were gifted these seats, and I go there, and first of all, I was blown away with the experience in general, but what really captivated me was the food, because they had a full like whole thing down there of like a buffet chefs. They had every food you can think of. They had a sous chef doing sushi like at the cart. You can order whatever sushi you want. He makes it for you fresh right then and there. They had steak. They had like Italian food. They had ballpark food too that you could just grab nachos, whatever. And all of this came with the ticket. So we're not paying for anything. We can get as much as often as we wanted. They had an entire like ice cream buffet. Then they had a mountain of candy. Every candy you can imagine. They had a table and it was just stacked all over, and you could just grab bowls of candy that you wanted and take it with you into the park and watch. So this is my first time experiencing anything like this. That is not my space. I'm nosebleeds at the very top. That's all I've ever known.
$10 seats. Yep.
Yeah.
So I grabbed stuff kind of like not knowing if I could, and I just kind of eat some stuff. It was really good. And then I go to my seat and I'm sitting there. All of a sudden a lady comes up like they usually do as they walk down the aisles, but she comes up to us and she goes, "Excuse me, sir, ma'am, can I get you anything?" And we're like, "Oh no." And she's like, "Are you sure? I mean, it's all accommodated for. Like, I'll get you whatever you want." And I'm like, it's free? She's like, "Yeah, of course it's free. It comes with a ticket. Like anything you want, you can ask for it. I'll go get it for you." And I'm like, "Do you guys have those like sour rainbow things?" And she's like, "Oh yeah, totally." She's like, "Anything else?" I'm like, "Yeah." So I just start listing all this stuff I want. And she comes back and she gives it to me in like the little Astros hat, the helmet, and it's like filled up. She gives me Cracker Jacks, drinks, and starts like refilling me without any question. Just keeps coming back with all the stuff I want. She gives us the prize for that night that you usually have to wait in the line for forever. Oh, wow. And it was the most insane food experience I've ever had, of just free, and the experience of the park as well, which was phenomenal, being 10 feet away from the players, So to me, that is the greatest experience I've ever had with food in general. Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty fantastic.
Yeah.
Craziest. I had a friend who was Vietnamese, and we were pretty good friends. And I took him to, I don't know, I think it was like Black Eyed Pea or something, and had him eat some down home, Southern cooking. And he was like, "This is good, but next time you come with me, we eat my food." And I was like, "Okay." And so we went to some Vietnamese restaurant that he knew, and he's like, they said, "What do you want?" And he goes, "One of everything." And he ordered basically one of everything on the menu. There were some things on that menu that, needless to say, I was not excited to eat.
Starfish.
Did it all?
I don't know. I have no idea. I couldn't read Vietnamese, but I knew that there were some things on that. So I had to try one of everything. And some of it was good, and then some of it was scary. They brought out a crab, and the waiter, takes a meat cleaver and goes chunk, 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 and just cut that crab up, and then the top of the crab, like you're supposed to suck the meat out of it.
Oh man,
it was so nasty.
And
he cracked open a crab leg, and I took a little bit of crab meat out of that and ate that. But I mean, like, he's sucking the meat out of it was so disgusting. The guts of this crab. Yeah, I was like, nah, I'm not good. There's so many weird things that in that one meal, which is probably part of the reason I hate Vietnamese food.
I was about to say that was it. I could understand that for sure.
Anyway, that was a crazy experience.
What you, man?
Man, crazy food experiences. I'm torn between two stories. One has to do with the Carnival Cruise, and one has to do with youth camp. Real quick, I'll go with you both. I can't help. I was trying to think which one I'm going to say, and then you said one of everything. Yeah. So food is all inclusive on a cruise ship.
Yeah.
And so we are sitting at this table with all these other people, and I'm trying to figure out what I want to eat. And you approach the meal like you would approach any meal, like moderation, what's the one thing I can get?
Yep.
People next to us are like, "We'll take one of everything."
Yeah.
And I was going, "What?" I'm freaking out. And then my face couldn't hold it. And the waiter was like, "Okay." And walked away. I'm like, "Y'all gonna do one of everything?" They're like, "Yeah, we're about to experience foods that we had never experienced before, that we couldn't afford anywhere else. Yep. And it's all part of this. So we're going to try it as much as we can." And they literally brought out, because every night is a different entree. And they brought out one of everything, and they tried it, moved to their spouse, and he tried it. And I was like, "Oh, this is amazing." And so I didn't go to that degree, because I know my eyes are bigger than my stomach. But I did experience foods that I had never experienced before. That was a crazy experience for me.
Yeah.
It might not be a crazy experience for you, but it was for me to be a part of a situation where I knew most of this food was just gonna go away.
Yeah.
That's not how we were brought up. You clean your plate, you know. So then you're in a position where it's like, don't eat it. If you don't like that, I'll bring you something else.
Yeah.
Okay. And speaking of Guy Fieri, on Carnival Cruise, you can get a Guy Fieri burger.
Yeah.
And it's like this kiosk that's out by the pool, and they have everything you want, and the burgers taste amazing.
Yeah, they're delicious.
Made just the way you want it, right there in front of you, fresh, and it tastes like it does in the restaurant. I've been at the restaurant too.
Yep.
Tastes just like that. And I'm like, you can keep going back as many as you want.
As many as you want.
As many as you want. And then, going to
Sounds
youth
painful.
camp, every year at youth camp on Thursday night, or Thursday, instead of for recreation, we have our messy day. And so it's a giant relay. And every station has got some kind of food product of sorts, and everything from baby food to fish. And at the very end, it's a smorgasbord. It's like a full-on food fight. I don't eat any of it, but I make sure other people do.
Yeah.
So I usually come up with some kind of concoction. It's baby food and whatever else I can find out there that's, and I mix it all together, and I'm looking for who I can fish hook.
Yep.
Because my whole goal in this is to try to make them throw up, which I know is the exact opposite of this food situation. We're talking about what we ingest and put in. But I was trying to make it go the other direction.
As most youth pastors should.
So yeah, my crazy food experiences are, excess to excess.
No kidding.
One of them's going in, one of them's coming out.
I'll tell you one, because of the youth, I've worked with youth for a long time. There was, we took chicken bouillon, beef bouillon, and made tubs, like huge tubs of Jello.
Almost like those kid pools.
Out of like
Jello. Oh my gosh.
chicken bouillon. So it was like chicken Jello and beef Jello, and we dyed them to look like cherry and lime.
This sounds disgustingly amazing.
Put like gummy worms in it.
Oh my gosh.
But it was still hot, so the gummy worms dissolved, but the shape of the gummy worm's still there. And so then they stink so bad we had to cover them in whipped cream.
Yep.
To hold the smell in. And then we had a challenge, and it was who could get the most gummy worms out
without using
with their
hands.
face.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it was amazing. We had like dummy ones that we made that was real Jello for the leaders to demonstrate how this thing works.
That's
and
beautiful.
It was great. And then the other kids like start going in, and they're like, oh, there's something not right. And there was like one kid, I remember one kid, like he kept getting mouthful, and then he would spit it in the next guy's tub. The guy was like, stop it.
Yes.
So that youth.
That's my
food
kind of
thing,
competition right
man.
there.
Oh, it stinks so bad. I thought I was going to get fired because I made the whole church smell like so bad.
Chicken bouillon.
Oh, it was so
That was
so
all
bad.
indoors?
It was all indoors.
Oh, bro.
So
Yeah.
much.
It was brutal.
So much chicken Jello.
Okay, that does remind me of another crazy experience I had when I was in youth. Was a ice cream. They had a gutter.
Uh-huh.
We did a progressive dinner, and then they had a gutter that was hundreds of feet long that they had ice cream in, and it was supposedly the world's largest
Banana
sundae.
Yeah.
Banana split or whatever sundae, and that's everybody's. I think about COVID, and here we were
for years for this.
Here we were, all these kids, all just grabbing spoons, using each other's spoons, all eating out of the same tray, saliva, and
Trough of ice
it was
cream.
so it was a
As
trough of ice
one's
cream.
finishing, it's just running down to the neck.
Yeah.
It was so nasty.
Yeah, you want to be at the front of that line, not at the back.
Oh my
side.
gosh.
Yeah,
I don't know about you guys, but this is not the direction I thought a food conversation was going to go in.
So I do want to say this on the food thing, like, food, like you said it earlier, it's an experience, right?
Yeah.
Like we're supposed to enjoy our food.
Yeah.
And there's something about eating food together with people. Like before we do this podcast, we always sit down and have some food together.
Yeah.
Every time.
And there's something about sharing your life, sharing a meal. It's a biblical thing.
Yeah.
When people came together, they would share a meal. They'd breaking
bread. Yeah.
And so there's some foods we don't like or foods we really like. I'll even eat food I don't like if I'm, having company with
people
somebody.
you do like.
And
I will not eat your meatloaf. I won't do it.
We're gonna have a meatloaf on this podcast.
Yes, we are. And
it's just gonna sit here.
It's just going to
And then Guy Fieri is going to walk out.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. So like, there's just something about that sharing food. There's something personal. There's something about bringing in close that I think everybody experiences.
Yeah.
And have those kinds of stories, shared meal. So
yeah, Jason knows me really well. We work together. So what's the one thing I always say?
Yeah, he never wants to eat lunch alone.
Nope.
No.
I hate eating alone. I love to eat with people. I budget for it so that I can do it because it's valuable to me. So food, it's a big part of who we are. I hope you guys enjoyed the discussion today. Learned a little bit more about us as well as we talked about some of our crazy food experiences and the things that we loved and the things that we don't like in the food world. But as usual, we'd love to always hear from you guys. What are your favorite foods? What do you dislike? Maybe you have some stories about food experiences that we would enjoy. Love to see those. So if you'd comment wherever you're listening or watching, please do that. And thank you so much for being a part of another 4THOUGHT podcast. Peace out.